Hey everyone, how are y'all doing? In this video we're gonna go through a long overdue video, catch up on all the colonies and kind of talk about what's been going on. I haven't talked to y'all in quite a few months, so let's jump into it and we'll get right back to you. Okay, what's up everybody and welcome back to S&E Ants YouTube channel. Oh man, where do I even start? So, first off, I'm not the guy to apologize for not uploading videos, but I do want to apologize to everybody about kind of dropping off the face of the earth, so to speak. I'm just going to cut it short, long story short. I got in a car accident in 2023, and I've been dealing with the after effects of said car accident. A lot of PT, a lot of health issues I've had come up, and we'll just leave it at that, and it's just gotten to the point where it made it very hard to make videos, and its daily life is a little bit of a challenge right now. So we'll leave it at that. Purpose of this video is to go over the ant colonies. So I wanted to give you guys an update. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I've just been trying to find the energy and the effort to get up and do it. Today I just want to give everyone the update, show everyone how everyone's doing, all the updates on the queens, the colonies, and all the other new colonies that you guys haven't seen yet, and then some good or bad news, kind of depending on how you look at it. So I'm going to start and just move left to right and kind of go over everything and kind of give you an update on where we were or if we've even covered the colony. I was going to do a couple broken up videos, but in this one we're not. I just wanted to get an entire video to you guys, catch you guys up to speed, let you know what's going on, and everything's pretty good. So we'll go from there. The first colony I'm going to go over real quick. I'm going to put up here on the very top. This is Camponotus. Some people call it Camponotus americanus or Camponotus decipiens. We've kind of go over this colony before. This colony has not grown at all. If you can see all of them in the back, the queen's still back there. So are all the little ants. So they're there, but they're not. I've kept them fed. I've kept them with water. I've given them, as you can see on the top, once I move my finger, I've given them the nectar water that I've used for everybody. And if you're new here, I use Sunburst Ant Nectar. I get this off of Amazon. I upgraded this year to the big tube. Links actually down in the description if you want to check some out. But as you can see, this colony has not gotten that big. It's kind of just stayed at this level. I don't know if they're waiting for diapause to kind of start up. This colony kind of started up, did well in test tube. I moved them into this particular mini hearth setup to kind of see if they would grow anymore. They haven't. Some colonies will get their starter brood, or as most of you know them as, is they'll get their nanendicts, and they'll wait for diapause, and then once they come out of diapause, they start the colony up and going. So that's the first colony. They're doing okay. They just haven't grown any. I'm going to put the cap back on this and move them out of the way. And go over the next colony. I'll save my favorite for last. If you're an OG subscriber, you'll know which one that is. This is the Camponotus pennsylvanicus second queen colony. They are doing okay. They're doing actually really well. Again, ant nectar, and then I usually use mealworms or crickets. I have found that the crickets haven't really been giving them the nutrition they've needed, so I do them sparingly. I've been doing a lot of mealworms here lately. I can go to the local pet store and get like a little container of 100 mealworms for like $5, $10, something like that. So it's not too bad. I'll pop the lid off for them. I'm actually going to put you guys on a stand. I have to be careful with some of these light covers because they will stick to the magnets. And if you go to pull it off, I've already done it once. If you go to pull it off too quick, it will actually pull the glass off with it that's holding the ants inside. So you got to be very careful with these, and I don't want to do that again. So I'm actually going to put you guys on the stand real quick. So we're going to pop this off, and this colony is actually doing really well. Kind of on par with the first Camponotus pennsylvanicus colony that we've had, the OG colony that's on the channel that everybody knows and loves. They're not slap full. I've had this. This is actually the nest that the first pennsylvanicus colony was in, and they were a lot more actually up to the windows, the little chambers. They were full. So, but you can see they're doing really healthy, or doing really well. They're actually really healthy. Got a lot of brood, and I actually take you off the stand real quick to kind of show you the brood piles and stuff. I've kept the heat on and off. It depends. I'll leave it on for like 2 weeks and I'll take it off. But you can see there, if I can zoom in, they actually got a really healthy brood pile back in there. All the ants are doing really well. They got a bunch of majors in there too. All levels are full. They're all doing well. The queen likes to stay in the bottom here, down here next to the water tower or humidity chamber, depending on who you talk to. So update on them, doing fantastic. Brood's doing really well. Like I said, here in the next month or two, they'll actually start going back into diapause. So that colony's doing great. Again, I'll show you a little bit of their outworld. So you can see their trash pile. I vacuum this once every couple weeks, depending on how bad it gets. I have this little vacuum here. Again, I've shown you this before. It's in the description. The link is. But this little car vacuum, it's really good because it has a filter. So if you do suck up the ants on accident, they won't die. They get stuck in a little filter. You can pop it off, and then you can just dump them right back into the nests. Yep, they're doing well. We'll move over to my favorite now. Little update on this. This is a new outworld too. I don't know if I talked about this in the last video. I think I did. But these outworlds I got Mac 2. If you can see here, the 2 comes out of the nest, and I got Mac 2 put some the material out around the tube, because these plastic enclosures are famous for, and there's an actual crack right where my finger's at, if you can see. They crack where the tube goes into the outworld. So if you reinforce it with the material he uses, it actually doesn't crack nearly as much, and it holds the tube for a lot longer. So all right, let's move on to the Camponotus castaneus colony, or castaneus colony, depending again on who you talk to. This is the one I have to be very careful with, because the glass will pop off. So as you can see, they are doing fantastic. They are a lot dirtier of an ant, so to speak, than my Pennsylvanicus. They keep the nest not so clean. You can see they're doing really well. Brood all in the chambers. You see a bunch of pupae back there, a couple larvae on the bottom. And they are so packed in there, I can't even see the queen. But there is two majors in here, I think, that if I find them, they are massive. And oh, nope, the queen's up top, so you see her in the back there. I don't know if you can see her. I'll do my best. Right here at the tip of my finger, right there where my shadow is. She's in the back there. But there is a couple majors in here, if I can look with my own eye. Yep, there's one. So right here again, at the tip of my finger, coming, here, let me go up a little bit. Right here, that's a major. They are huge compared to the other workers. They're pretty much as big as the queen. These majors are actually really sick, or cool, should I say. Some people may not know the language there, but a couple of them on the outworld. But again, if you're looking for a cool colored ant, not just your typical black ant to keep, something that pops out, sticks out. This one, again, we kind of went over it in a bunch of other videos. If you've been here a while, they take a little while to take off. But once they do, the colonies are awesome. So again, we can kind of look on their outworld. You can see a couple workers. They are very, you can see she knows I'm there. They're looking around, but they're not very clean. So just keep that in mind. They like to dump their trash all on the outside, and they keep some of it on the inside of the nest. So don't be surprised if you have a dirty nest from them. Very fast too, just like Pennsylvanicus. You open this top here, and they will shoot out this thing really quick. So you gotta be careful. They're doing great. They've gotten really big. I'll actually need to upgrade this. Not soon. They're not really packed in there. One thing I've learned, and we're gonna actually kind of go over it in this nest here, the smaller the space, the better. You don't want a lot of open space. It can really harm a colony, and we'll kind of go over it and show that here soon. So that's that nest. They're doing great. Before we go to the final colony, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you another colony that I started. So before I started this YouTube channel, I actually had a colony of Aphenogaster. Rudis Aphenogaster Rudis. That was my first colony back into the hobby way before I made this YouTube channel. I didn't do too well with it, and I kind of did a lot of learning from it. So I actually found that they were having a nuptial flight a couple months ago. Found a couple queens, threw them in the test tubes together, because sometimes they can have multiple queens in a colony, and lo and behold, they started their own little colony. Now if I can get, there we go. They're really tiny. So as these ants grow, they will get not bigger, not even close to Pennsylvanicus, but a lot of these are nanitics, so they're really tiny. This particular nest is a Ants Canada. It's actually a mini outworld connector and just some test tubes connected to it. It's the only really good thing that I could use to connect these up to. But I have one test tube with clean water because they needed it. They're doing really well. Sorry for the shakiness. Colony's doing well. They've actually dug in underneath. You can see a bunch of the brood underneath. I know it's a little dirty, but again, I provided them a clean test tube. They like to stay in this one, so I'm gonna leave them alone. But they've dug into it a little bit. The queen's back there in the corner. You can see her huge guests are back there. Again, I had 2 in here. Typically what happens is you put 2 in here, whichever one starts laying first and actually has brood, and then once the brood emerges, they will end up killing that queen. Almost, not all the time, but a lot of the times, and that's what ended up happening here. Once the brood emerged and they got established, they ended up killing the other queen that wasn't laying. So it's okay though. We got a good colony, good starter colony going. Queen's healthy, she's laying. Again, I've kind of talked about these starter colonies. You don't want to feed them a whole lot, but once every 2 weeks or so. So I'm gonna keep them up there for now. Actually, I'm gonna move them here so they don't fall. So, final colony we're gonna go over in this video. Again, I don't want to make this too long. I wanted to kind of give you guys an update. The main Pennsylvanicus colony. So this is my very first colony coming back to the channel. I've done a bunch of upgrades to this video, or to this colony. You'll remember, well, a lot of you OGs will understand that I had to brood boost this colony, and they're doing great. So I brood boosted this colony from this colony because this colony was doing so well. She was not. I brood boosted her, and then, they're doing great. This colony was doing great. I will tell you, the feeding and watering and nectar requirements for this colony were getting way up there. They were needing to be fed and given the nectar almost weekly. They would drain, as you can see, I have 3 nectars, a water, and then 2 nest mates, and they were draining this almost constantly. Even off heat, they were draining this. They unfortunately had a little bit of a die-off, and I'm just going to warn you now, that's kind of what happened. They had a die-off. I don't know if it was just a really big changeover from old workers to new workers, or if it was something else going on here. I actually cleaned a lot of the nest out because I had to. The fluon barrier we kind of go over before failed, and it got to the point where anytime there were so many ants, and you can see, it's kind of an example. You see all these ants hanging out in this outworld here. This was almost 5 times that. This thing would be covered in ants all the time, and anytime I would even remotely remove this lid, they would come pouring out. And that becomes a challenge for us ant keepers, because especially newer ant keepers, they get really intimidated by that, and they pop the lid, they see all these ants pouring out, and they get overwhelmed, they don't want to do it anymore. And even myself, I was getting a little overwhelmed with how many ants were coming out. I was having to use the vacuum back here and suck up all the ants that would come out, feed them, and then put all the ants back in, and it just becomes a really bothersome experience just to have to feed and water them. So they did have the die-off. I vacuumed everything out that I could. I reapplied the new fluon barrier all the way around, and they've been fine ever since. I popped the lid, I could take the lid off here, and they may sense the air pressure change. They'll run around a little bit, but they don't come pouring out. You kind of see how this one does, where he's freaking out because the air pressure change. They would all start pouring out. So just keep that in mind. Fluon barrier, and that this will eventually happen to every ant keeper, that you go to feed them, and they will come out if they have enough ants. So I'm gonna again put you guys on the stand one more time so I can take this light cover off of this nest and kind of give you the final update here and kind of show you where this colony is. Now, I will tell you guys, I've already contacted Mac to get a smaller nest. I'm looking to get a labyrinth-sized nest, and essentially downgrading these ants because they have way too much space and not enough workers to manage the space, and it stresses the ants out, and you don't want that. So this is the ant cover. It's, again, huge. I'll put it back there for now. So you can kind of see what I'm dealing with here. And Mac, if you're watching, before I swap these over, you can kind of see what I was talking about and what I'm dealing with. We originally had so many ants that this thing would be covered, and I'm going to move this light so the glare's not there. But you can kind of see what I'm dealing with. They're still there. I don't want you to say the whole colony has died off, because they're still there. The queen's still in here somewhere. I'll point her out in here in a second. And they still have brood somewhere in here. I've seen some every now and then. Oh yeah, they're back here. So, but there's so much space that They've kind of started putting their trash inside the nest, which is not a typical thing for Pennsylvanicus to do. They usually keep these nests pretty clean, but when they have so much space, instead of walking right into their outward and throwing the trash, they just throw it in the chamber because it's closer and they're not using it. You can see that, and there's pockets of ants. This is what you don't want to see, is little pockets of ants. You want all these chambers to be filled together because, again, you must have like a satellite colony over here, and one over here, one over here, and one up here. You want all these ants together like you saw in these nests. They're all together, they can all feed each other, they can all manage the brood. When you have ants up here, you can't, they really can't do that. So let's see if I can find the queen. She's in here somewhere. I've checked on her. There she is, right here. So she's doing great, and I know the colony's still healthy and the queen's still fine. And you can see that they still have some brood. So brood right here. Again, they haven't really gone. They've gotten to that larva stage right before, what am I trying to say, diapause. And the ants will do this when they're ready for diapause. They'll start to clump up in groups. Their larva and their brood won't grow any further than this really early larva state. And then they'll wait for diapause, and the next year they'll start growing again. That's just kind of what the cycle that ants go through. So there's another chamber up here with a bunch of brood, and again, just that little tiny larva, that diapause larva is what I call it. So there's a chamber there with brood, chamber there with brood, and then there was there some up here any? No, these are just ants hanging out. So they have little pockets of brood everywhere, mostly in these two quadrants. So yeah, definitely here, and then up here, and then like I said, you'll see the queen. She's active. The colony is doing fine. I've given them, you know, they got plenty of water, plenty of food I've been giving them. So, and you can see, and you can kind of see a colony's health, and if they need food by their gaster sizes, which is, you know, something I've learned over the past couple years. If their gasters are really tiny and they're not really transparent, they need to be fed. A lot of these ants will store this food in here, and we've kind of talked about that before, where ants will share their food together. I'm forgetting the term off the top of my head, but they will share food and feed each other. They keep that social stomach of theirs. And a lot of these ants, you see, their gasters have plenty of food in them. You can see the little bands in their gasters. That means, you know, they're full. So they have plenty of food. It's just, it's a lot of space for them to manage. So I need to definitely downgrade them, and that's the next step for this channel and this particular colony. The other colonies are doing great. You know, I love them. This colony's getting quite the size we showed. My Castaneus colony is doing great, but I really need to get this one under control. They got to the point where they were growing so fast. I put them in this, and this thing was covered. And then I guess, I don't know if the outward was too small. I don't think that's the case, or if I wasn't keeping up with their food enough. But you can see that we've kind of reset, taken a couple steps back. So I'm gonna do what I can to kind of get a smaller sized nest for them to manage. So something like this. Like I said, kind of the same size as this. It's the labyrinth. This is a lot thicker, but a labyrinth is I think it's a little bit taller, not just an inch shorter version of that. But this should be plenty enough ants to get in there and still have space. So, but that's the update. I wanted to kind of touch base with everybody. I'm doing okay. Taking it day by day. I'm not going to sit here and promise that I'm going to upload next week or next month, because I don't want to break that promise to you guys. You guys have been wonderful. We're over 1,000 subscribers, and I'm grateful for every one of you. I check all the comments. Any new comments that are left, I usually follow up with, I reply to. I do the best I can to help all of you, because that's what we're here for, is to learn, and we're all interested in ants. You know, that's what we love. It's kind of our hobbies. So very small niche, and you know, the folks that do it, we all try to help each other out. But I'll do my best to keep up. Like I said, I'll reply to comments and whatnot. That's not a big deal, and I'll try to get an update video before diapause for you for these, especially when the new nest comes in. I'll do what I can for that particular nest, showing you how I move them. This nest is going to be actually a challenge, because there's so many. I have to coerce them into a smaller nest. So we'll kind of have to see how that goes. But yep, I wanted to give everybody an update. I missed all of you. I appreciate all of you. And I hope you all are doing well. I hope your ant colonies are doing great. And I hope you learned something from any of my videos, or this one in particular. Leave me a comment down below telling me you made it this far. Like I said, the ones that have been here for a while, I know you watch all my videos. So thank you so much. And I hope you all are doing great. Have a great rest of your into summer and beginning into fall. See y'all.